Hey dudes, welcome back. So I am on my way to the machine shop. It's about a month, maybe 5 weeks, 6 weeks since I went to go drop off the block to the machine shop. And week after week I kept calling to see the status, and finally I got word today that it's completed. So I'm on my way over there just to see how everything looks. I'm gonna grab everything, take it back home. There goes the machine shop right there, Velio's. Hey buddy. Okay, we're back home. I have the engine block on the stand here. I have the cylinder heads. What's up, William? Just gonna show your shoes. We got the cylinder heads here. So when we took it apart, we actually found a broken, or like a bearing that dropped in there for some reason. Yeah. So I guess when the piston was like closing and compressing and all that stuff, it was like damaging the inside here. I checked with the machine shop, and they actually said this is gonna be okay because it's just part of the combustion chamber, I guess. They did remachine this for this to fit the larger pistons that are over there, the 90 and a halves. So they did a valve job on this one. They replaced all the valves and then also the valve guides. The valve guides, the keepers, the springs, all of that are all replaced here. So this is gonna be okay here. All right, here is the block. Let's make sure my phone number is not here. Yeah, they did a lot of really good work on this thing. I know before we dropped this off, the end plate on this was like ridiculously big. Like it was probably like a 1/4 inch or something, and we found out that the thrust on the inside has actually gone completely bad. So no matter what we did, no matter any type of quick fix we did, this was always going to be bad. So that's why we ended up just kind of spending the time and money on getting that properly fixed. They actually welded the thrust completely, and then they remachined it so that the bearings will actually fit there properly. So now the end plate is completely set right, so we are good here. They also did machine the inside of this here so that, again, it accommodates for the bigger pistons there, or the bigger cylinders. And then a couple other things here. We ended up putting an Engel 100 camshaft in there for a little bit more power. The crankshaft is a stock 69mm one. With these pistons and cylinders, we should end up with a 1776. We added the CD Performance oil pump here with the external filter and everything, so it's looking real good. Repainted everything, gave all new hardware. You can see how nice this is here. See how that slowly drops? That's good, and that's good. And so let's check out one of these guys, and this will fit in there just like that. And similarly right there, because these are, again, the 90 and a half. Yep, 90.5s.
Oh, it is like wet sandpaper.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like very sandy. So what we're doing here is we have, let's see, this valve grinding compound, and what my brother wants to do is put this along the cylinders there and like rotate it and everything, so that way that mating surface is perfectly mated to the shoulder over here. Something like that. All right, while they do that, I just want to show some of the other parts that needed to get cleaned, like the doghouse thingy here, a bunch of that stuff. These are the dirtiest pieces here that go underneath the heat exchangers, and then these ones here have already been cleaned. So this goes in the back of the engine, in the front of the engine, and then the two on top of the cylinders. There goes cylinder 1 complete. Now cylinder 2, and then we're gonna work on cylinder 3 and 4. And by the way, 3 and 4, we chose to put the two best ones here because cylinder 3 does get the hottest. So cylinder, let's see which one. 1 is gonna be the one that has this weird stuff here, so that should still be okay.
Not the most accurate though, because I got grease all over it.
There you go. You can bring it past 60. There you go, and then flip it upside down to put the air at the very top. Right there.
Huh?
Cool. All right.
Okay.
We put the grease along here. That's a lot of grease, bro. measure how much water goes into that combustion chamber. And the spark plug is already installed on this one so that it doesn't leak out. And as that fills up, we have to shake the cylinder head so that the air escapes. That's good. All right, what's the measurement there?
15, 14 and a half.
14 and a half, so 60 minus 14, that's 36.
14.
So 46. So the combustion chamber here is 46. So yeah, that's good there. So we'll just write down like 46 here, and then we'll do that for all 4 of them. So we measured everything we needed to measure on the cylinder heads, and what else did we measure? I forget. Anyways, now we're gonna measure the deck height. So what we needed to do was install these head studs here. I've already labeled all the pistons and cylinders accordingly. Cylinder 1 with the arrows pointing back and everything. We didn't bother putting any of these circlip things because all we need to do is just put the wrist pin inside just hand tight or whatever, just so we can kind of bolt this down and get that deck height measurement there. There you go. All right, we had a bit of a setback there. We were having some issues getting this torqued down, but whatever. So what we did is we had like this spare piece of metal and we put that there, and then we measured the height here minus that, all of that, whatever. So what we ended up with is 3 measurements, 0.0535, 052, and another 0535. And then got the average of that, so that's 053. So deck height for cylinder 1 is going to be 53 thousandths. Now we're going to replicate that on the rest of the other 3 cylinders, and then we should be able to figure out the compression or whatever rings that we're going to get right here. So keep on going. All right, so we finished the deck height measurement on all 4 cylinders, and this is what we came up with here. 1, 2, 3, 4. These ones here, the 053, 0448, 0615, and the 057. Those are the deck heights. So we determined that for cylinder 1 and 2, we're going to use the shims, the 40 thousandths here and here. And cylinder 3 and 4, we're gonna use the 60 thousandths shim there and there. And we have this here on the website for CB Performance. We've measured out the compression and all that stuff. These barrel shims, we're gonna use the 40 thousandths here and 60 thousandths. So we're gonna get that, and then once we have all that set up, we're gonna reinstall this and torque it down, and we should be good. So we installed the 4 thousandths on cylinder 1 and 2, like we talked about over here. And then after measuring everything, we got the new deck height here, which is 95 thousandths compared to the 53 thousandths. So now we put that into the calendar, or not the calendar, calculator. 90 and a half, 69 stroke, 0953, combustion chamber is 46. Compression ratio is 8.2, which is exactly what we were aiming for over here. So that's good news. We're gonna do that for the rest of these 3, and we should target 8.2 all around. So far, so good. All cylinders have been measured, and we determined we are gonna be getting around 8.2, 8.3 between all 4 cylinders. So now we have that all figured out. We're gonna start taking this apart and then clocking the piston rings and the compression rings so that the gaps are not like either on the bottom or they're not like lined up, so that no oil kind of passes through. All the piston rings are now clocked correctly. Now we're just putting Permatex on the shim spacers so that they can go here, and then we're gonna put Permatex on the ends of those cylinders and slapping it on here. Don't get it on the block. These are all masked off, but we didn't put the Permatex on yet. But this one is pretty much ready to go. So the Permatex is underneath the spacer, and then we put more Permatex here. And then all we have to do is just shove this down, and that will now mate into that surface.
Turn the.
Oh, wait. We gotta put the clip on.
Oh yeah.
Oh, on this side still.
That's what I was waiting
Yep.
on actually.
Let's do that real quick. All right, cameraman William. So I already put the circlip on this side. The wrist pin is put in, and now putting this side in over here as well. That looks good. Let me see. Yep, looks good to me. Now we should be ready to put this cylinder down. Yep. So we're upgrading his cooling tins. We got these are empty, and normally right here there's like that square cooling tin, but I guess these are like the upgraded versions that will cool it off better, so we're gonna slap these guys on. Cylinder heads are going on, and there are no gaskets here. It should just be metal to metal. Nice. Oh, you know what? Oh no, the push rod tubes, they're springs, so okay, cool. So normally you would have the push rod tubes here because the original ones are like the crushable style, but my brother got these ones with the spring action on there, so we can actually just install it afterwards and just kind of compress it and shove it in there. Now we're ready to follow the torque sequence on these heads here. So on the Bentley manual, workshop manual here, this is type 3, but I mean bottom end is exactly the same for type 1. So this is going to be the torque sequence for 7 foot-pounds, and then the final torque is going to be this torque sequence here. The book says 22 to 23, but the machine shop suggested like 18, right? 18, so we're probably going to go with that. So my brother cleaned up all the hardware. These are all the original nuts and washers there. We've prepped the cylinder heads, these 4 here, with Permatex, a little bit of Permatex on the inside so that the washer stays put. I just have to do it over here as well.
There you go.
Nice.
18.
Yep. So the first torque sequence of 7 is done. Now we're going to do the second one of 18. Cylinder 3 and 4 are pretty much done, less the push rod tubes, but we can do that after we set up 1 and 2. All right, so installing cylinder 1 and 2, we realized that when using this cooling tin here, it does make a lot of interference on this nut here. Not so much here, but definitely in the middle, and this one over here. So we kind of just fit it up so that we know where to cut. We're just going to use a Dremel to kind of trim however much we need to trim there, and then we'll take it out and then put it back in. Okay, so my brother cut this and that. It's not the best job, but whatever. So as long as it clears these nuts down here, we should be good.
These nuts.
Got him.
These nuts. Got him.
Second cylinder head is on its way in. This is cylinder 1 and 2. Should just drop right in. Sweet. Now just the hardware, torque it down, and we're pretty much gonna be done with the long block. There you go. Bottom end is pretty much complete besides like the push rod tubes, but of course we can put those on afterwards because we have the adjustable ones. So yeah,
Nice.
So far so good. Look how good these look. These are even painted even though they're covered, so whatever. At least we know that it's done. Day 2 of the engine build. We're gonna put on these push rod tubes. These are JC, you said? Yeah, these are JC push rod tubes, and they come with like the springs and everything. Yeah, MP JC here, and the part number is there. Whatever. Yep. I guess you have to put like O-rings here, and then shove it in here, and then there's a washer that goes here, and then the rubber seal things. And then we're going to use gasket cinch on the head and the block that goes here and here. These are all pretty much put together. So the rubber seal thing is there, the O-rings inside, this one here, and there's a washer right here too.
That's it?
Yeah, easy peasy. And then you're gonna need to put them on the inside right there too. Come on, bro.
No.
Oh,
No. What? Dude, my thumb, dude. Can't do it. I don't know if I can do it. Can't grip it, dude. Can you do it?
oh yeah. Can you
Freaking
grab that
thumb is
one?
hurting, man. Reach out. Jeez, it's really there.
So close.
Dude, it's really.
Damn.
Can you do it and rotate at the same time?
These have a lot of tension.
Maybe.
Let me lower this a little bit.
Okay, that first one was quite the challenge.
What if you go
but
the other way, like
let's see if we can get
like
the second
this,
one on.
and then put this side first? No.
Yeah, I think these definitely have a lot more tension
Yeah.
than the scat
Yeah.
ones, huh?
Yeah.
God damn.
I can barely move.
See? I told you, bro. Here we go. 4 are done on this side. It was really, really tight, I think, because of the tension on these springs, but we got them on. Now just these 4.
Mine wasn't. They weren't like this.
Yeah, because yours were half the price.
Half the tension.
Yeah,
Maybe less than half the tension.
exactly.
And then,
4 push rod tubes are now installed. Now we're just gonna retorque these heads just because there's like some pressure going this way, so we want to make sure these are torqued back down to 18. I think you did right, bro. Yeah, so we're gonna retorque all that after, then the push rod tube, or the push rods, and then the rocker arms will be next.
isn't it like a seal going here? Like a
Oh,
little
there
rubber-
is.
like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
ship.
you're
Yeah,
right.
right
It
here.
should be on in the gasket set.
A little rubber thing.
All right, so we almost forgot it, but William reminded us. In the gasket set, there's these O-rings here that get installed right here before putting on the rocker arms. There you go. Yep, and just make sure the push rods are in the little cup. Nice. Cylinder 3 and 4 are done. Moving on to 1 and 2. Exactly the same thing. Both rocker arms are installed, so with that on, basically we should be able to find what the top dead center is as we turn the flywheel. We can check here for TDC, but then we also have to keep a lookout on the valve to see if it's top dead center on cylinder 1 or 3. All right, so I have TDC here. As I turn the flywheel, these should not move, and only that. So this means that we're actually top dead on cylinder 1. So I'm gonna line this back up. So we're installing a longer stud there because we're upgrading the distributor clamp to the billet aluminum one. This is the stock one that's a little bit too short, so we got one that's like half an inch taller. Did you put the lube on there already?
More
Assembly
or what?
lube? No, you should be fine. As long as they stick together, you can just stick it on there. This is already seated down at the bottom. All right, so now we're gonna be setting up this. No, this one goes on top. You can put the spring on afterwards. So you put this bad boy on there.
You're right.
Just make sure this is on top dead center on cylinder 1 when we install this guy. There we go.
Cash money.
The smaller crescent is on this side of the engine, bigger side to the back, and then it's lined up to this stud hole thing right here. So that's installed. Now the spring goes in. That spring basically just keeps the distributor from bouncing up and down too much. You can see the difference in the clamp here versus the one we're using. And this flat one tends to bend the tighter you go, or however many times you set the adjustment on this. So it's better to have the billet there so that it stays square. So yeah, kind of rotate that and you should hear it kind of click. As you're pushing down, yeah, kind of push down and rotate this bad boy. There you go. Oh yeah. All right, take 50. We realized this clamp needs to be installed on the distributor so that it passes that O-ring, and then should be ready to get that in there. All right, this is finally on. Just if you could rotate the flywheel, you'll see this rotor is gonna start to turn as well. Right on, so distributor is now installed. Next up is gonna be the oil cooler. So we have these rubber gasket things that's gonna go here, and then the housing there, along with a brand new oil cooler here. Oh, actually, you know what? This needs to be installed onto that before that can install on here, because this can't go on, because this part is in the way. So install this one onto that, and then that whole assembly goes to here. Oil cooler is now installed with the housing, and he is writing a quick note here. Note to future self, don't leak. So now we're gonna work on putting the cooling tins on. Before we put on the cooling tins, I wanted to show the cylinders here. So my brother actually ended up using a angle grinder and cut off a whole bunch of the castings here, because this originally had like casting thing right here from when these were made. So for better airflow, you kind of just chop those off so that the air can kind of pass through these a little bit better and cool these a whole lot better too.
Do I need to move this or no? No.
Yeah, you can take this off after.
That's it?
That's it. And then it's just the two screws here and there. Super easy. We masked that off so that we can put Permatex there, and then it's gonna be the paper gasket, then more Permatex, and then the metal gasket, Permatex, paper, Permatex, and then the housing.
Over there.
Mm-hmm. Now the last paper gasket, and then one more layer of Permatex on top of that one.
Oh shit.
Oh boy.
That's a lot.
Pablo Picasso over here.
Yeah.
Just going ham.
Gotta use some better looking hardware.
Yeah, dude, you could have just bought a whole nother pack. Too expensive. You're way over budget already.
Good budget, man. I didn't account for the hardware.
All right, this is installed. Now next up are these intake manifolds here and right there. Metal gasket is in. Go ahead and put that on there.
Perfect.
Perfect, like it was meant to be there.
Yeah.
And then this one can be right there.
Alright.
So now we just retighten the intake manifolds and then put the hose clamps here, tighten that up. So we're getting ready to install the alternator, and my brother got a new fan also, and they look pretty good. They're pretty identical, right?
Wider.
Oh, it's a little bit wider. Oh yeah, that's right.
Because of the doghouse shop.
Oh yeah, because you got a bigger like shroud doghouse thingy, so you got a bigger one of that. But it should still bolt up the same. Oh no, this needs to come off and transfer over. You put those spacers in? Or shims, I mean?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, that was for this size, right? So you may need to update that.
Good.
Or same.
Same but different.
But still same. Pretty good.
But I need to torque it down. But
Oh,
unless it's snug.
that's 2 ugga-duggas. 1 more ugga-dugga. Okay, that's tight. Torque to spec. Good and tight. Wait. There we go. I'm good here. So these are supposed to have the same hardware as this right here, which is a flathead style, but we switched over to a hex head so it's easier to take off in the future. This one here especially because there's just like very little space there. Carburetor is mounted, not really fully or did you torque this down? Okay, but it's kind of just sitting there. So he grinded the wrong side here. But he meant to grind this side here. Yeah, there you go, because normally that butts up against the alternator and it's causing problems. So that got grinded down so that it makes a little bit of clearance there.
This thing right here.
So the spacing is now good because what we ended up doing is right here we put a washer so that that manifold thing isn't quite up against the block, and what that did is it prevents it from going too far out this way, and we have enough clearance here. Can you do that, Carb? You already scratched the paint, dude. So we had to make some clearance here because the throttle cable kind of makes interference with the oil cooler down here. So we have to kind of shift this over, and then same thing with the holes that are in there. We are going to use a series of adapters here because we are going to be using the same gauges that I have in my square back. This is for the oil temp. There's also going to be oil pressure and then also the stock oil pressure as well. It's a lot of Teflon.
Just one layer.
Just one layer. The shroud is back on and you can see where this was grinded over here because it's just making a little bit of contact to the new oil cooler right here, so that's why we kind of made that clearance. Down here at the bottom as well, we kind of had to cut a little bit of the shroud because it was bottoming out on the block right there. Valve lash is done. I did all cylinders 1 through 4, intake and exhaust at 6/1000ths of an inch.
Watch me cross thread it right now.
You're gonna strip it right now. It can't even focus, it's so shiny. This little tube is now installed. There was an issue with the threads that we thought it wasn't gonna work, but we ended up taking it back to the machine shop and they kind of fixed that. So everything fits now. Now we're just looking for some self-tappers so that we can install the coil pack over here. Come on.
goodness.
You know what you're doing?
There we go.
This engine is going to be powered by Stella Artois. Fancy guy. Sweet. So the J tubes are on. We kind of had to finesse the cooling tins over here, but we made it work. That side and that side's on. Then we're gonna get ready to put on the exhaust up here. Oh, you split this. There we go. Kind of split open a little bit. Whoa! We took the J tubes off again to replace the gasket that came with the kit. Oh, oops. So we're not gonna use that red one. We're instead gonna use this metal one. It's a little bit thicker, and I had to grind off the ends here because this stud had been fixed and replaced by the machine shop. Unfortunately, it's kind of like bent this way. So now that that's shaved down, it slides in just like that. So J tube can go right back on. So the exhaust needed to come off again because since we're using this bracket that holds the hose for this oil pump thing here, now these studs are a little bit too short, so we're going to replace it with these longer ones here.
It should be a 38 millimeter, I think.
What, the stock length?
Yeah.
38, yeah, give or take. And then let's check this longer one, 50. Yeah, so that's how much you gain right there. Oh, this one's tough. It's working. It's a lot smoother. Damn it. Easy peasy. Dope. Nice. Nice. And then this bracket. You can see this bracket installed. These studs are a little bit long, but it's better that way, I guess, because before it was like really short. So we got that done. And there we have it. Exhaust is back on, J tubes are back on, all the cooling tins, everything are all good, everything's retorqued, all of these nuts and everything. So we put this hose here for the oil pump. We didn't bother cutting it to install the oil filter. We are just gonna pretty much get this engine started, run the oil through it and everything. Pretty much as far as the build goes, this is pretty much complete for the entire 1776. Now all we need to do is just take off the engine from the stand and install it onto this transmission housing thingy so that we can get it to bench start. But as far as the engine build goes, this is done. Thanks for watching the 1776 build, guys.